Well, I'm asked sometimes. I don't tend to don't have a script. Free will is. I do tend to. I tend to sort of have an idea, and I feel that something I want to give. And actually, what tends to happen, I make some notes, and I've got a note or two this morning I wanted to share. But it's interesting. What I tend to do when I go out in the morning, I go and walk the dog. Is I call that my rehearsal time. So what will happen is that I will be walking and usually run through this as I'm walking the dog. So in other words, the dog gets to hear it first. But I like to rehearse. I always see myself, I suppose, as a bit of a I like to get it right on screen. But I actually do. It's never happened before. I've got a phone call during the during the talk. Okay, sorry. Start again. Right. Look, I like the movies. I like to go to the cinema. It's one of the big things actually probably missed this year is being able to go to the cinema, watch the movies. I love the escapism of the cinema. I love the fact, and one of the biggest areas I'd say of escapism. I like sci-fi movies. I like the big adventures, the epics, the sagas. I like being lost in something for a few hours. I'm the same way when I'm with the fiction, with books I read. I love to. I do. I'm a bit of maybe I'm an escapist. Maybe I'm a bit. I like to imagine and dream. That's part of who I am. A bit of a dreamer. But in all of that, and all of the fact that I love the cinema and I love being lost in all these wonderful stories that we can read about, we can watch. I tell you, I do. Of course, I do. I have a couple of issues with media, with films, and sometimes the problem I have is when it drips down into normal society, into our lives. When something that actually is a fiction affects us and affects maybe the way people live their lives. And this is my first example. Not the main thing I want to talk about, but see, I have noticed over the years if we look at movies and romance films, especially the wonderful romantic comedies, etc. We'll see this story of the one, of everybody having the one, and then we also see this sort of like the happy ever after moment that happens when when they have their first kiss. And I really struggle with this because, and I'll tell you why. I know people who are still, they're getting on, but they're still waiting for the one. And I know people who have given up in relationships because after the first kiss it wasn't happy ever after. I'll tell you something, it's actually quite easy to fall in love. Staying in love is a different matter altogether. This basis thing of having the one, it worries me because, as well, because you go around, well, maybe if you sneeze as they walk past, you might miss them. I don't, but it's this, isn't it? It's the fact actually, it can be quite easy to fall in love, but staying in love, pushing through and giving your life into a relationship and growing in a relationship is much more important. And that will be it can be a struggle sometimes, and that can be a bit of a battle sometimes, but it's worth it. And that's what you do. That's love. It's that we're going to keep going. I'm not sort of giving permission to keep going in an abusive situation there. Please don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm saying that actually love, it takes both of you in that situation to push through. And I've said all that, and that's not the main thing I'm talking about today. I just like to babble. So the thing I did want to talk about today is another part of cinema that we hear and see quite often, and it's where the people who are evil, people who do things which are wrong, are which hurt others, which destroy other people's lives. Those people, I don't like to see them built up in a movie. So we get, for instance, the best thing I can say is gangsters. Gangsters are seen like a people of respect, people of honour, people we should look up to. Look at how they, look how people respect them. And it's like, no. Just no. It's that's not a life to live for. That's not a life to aim for. I was reading this in the Bible one year, a lady called Simone Weil, and she wrote this. She said, imaginary evil is romantic and varied. Real evil is gloomy, monotonous, barren and boring. Imaginary good is boring. Real good is always new, marvellous, intoxicating. That really struck me because of this fact in so much of what we watch. Those who are doing evil, those actually who are hurting others, they're lifted up as if this is a great thing. And those who do good are seen as some sort of, do-gooding, boring people. And it's like, whoa, we've really got things the wrong way around there. I know people who have lived on, shall we say, the shadier side of life. And I know people within that, they're frightened to open their doors. They always check before opening their doors because they're worried about what might be on the other side of it. They have a reputation they've got to keep going. They've got a name they've got to maintain. Their lives aren't real in that respect. They're living a life really of fear and pretense. Always looking over their shoulder. It's a half-life, it's a false life. It's a life that actually is draining. Trying to be something that actually isn't something that anyone should really want to be, which is a person of fear. In Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 it says this: let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. See, the life of giving out, the life of sacrifice, the life of doing good is one that has a harvest. It's one it's life-giving, it's life-bringing. It draws people into us. It doesn't build a wall around us. Because a life of evil, a life where you've chosen to work, to live outside of normal, society, shall we say, that builds walls up. A life of good, it breaks walls down. And you keep breaking walls down and there's a harvest. We have this wonderful project, our church, called Love Gives. The last few years we have run this where people, they nominate somebody who has had a bit of a rough year. Maybe there's somebody who just needs to know that they're loved this year, that people care for them, that people are looking out for them. And you nominate a person, and then we have a donation side of that, and that's run this year. That all finished 1st of December. Then the wonderful Hannah Playford, she has organised all these gifts for people. And then yesterday, I get my glory moment. I get to go out and I just get to deliver these gifts to people. And the response is from people when you turn up on their doorstep and you say to them, you're loved. You're people looking out for you, you're loved. That response is phenomenal. It changes me. It changes me. And it changes them as well. We have a choice in our lives of where our focus is. Jesus he always responded to the need around him with compassion. That's my aim. That can be our aim, to do good. To look around us and say, where can I respond? Where can I reach out? There's a harvest in that. It will, in blessing others, I tell you what, you feel it yourself, you get blessed yourself. Builds me up, builds you up. It's a beautiful place to be, rather than a half-life. A life behind walls, behind barriers. That's our choice today. Let's not grow weary of doing good.